I've been sent the SL40X podcast microphone for review, and while it looks like a Shure SM7B, this retails for $49.99. But how does it perform? Let's talk about it.
Nico knows tech, all your tech tips and reviews on deck. Nico knows tech, #1 channel with the news on check.
The SL40X, first off, is an XLR microphone, meaning that it uses a traditional microphone connection, not USB. So in order to connect this to our PC, we will need an interface. Being this is a $50 item, and to give you the most realistic results, for this test we're going to use the UM2 by Behringer, a $50 USB interface. You can check the links in the description for the latest prices. On the back of the package of the SL40X are detailed specifications. The only thing that really stuck out to me was the impedance of 600 ohms. Most dynamic mics have an impedance of around 300 ohms, while the Shure SM7B has an impedance of around 150. What the designers of the mic could be going for with this impedance is to make the microphone quieter by electrical means, rather than acoustically like the Shure SM7B. While this could theoretically work, this makes me wonder if our relatively low-powered interface can effectively drive this mic. Inside we have the SL40X microphone already mounted, as well as a 2-meter long XLR cable. On our interface we have a single XLR input, and we control the gain with this first knob. The middle knob controls the instrument input for guitars and such. We also have a headphone jack for monitoring. The UM2 is a great budget option for musicians practicing at home with or without speakers or amps. The switch on the back is for providing phantom power to mics such as condensers, which we will not be needing for this mic, so we will leave it in the off position. I decided to examine the mic more closely and apply what I learned as an audio engineer, so I removed the wind filter. At this moment, I thought I caught the manufacturer red-handed. I thought to myself, this is just a regular dynamic mic stuffed into the shell to look like an SM7B. However, the SM7B is technically an SM57 that is in a chamber and is acoustically treated, as well as having some electrical tuning options. So let's look a little deeper. I decided to unscrew the pop filter and see if we have just an unchambered dynamic diaphragm with no acoustic treatment. Well, this is an acoustically treated chamber microphone. This is truly surprising and refreshing because it looks like the manufacturer actually put in the effort to make a podcast microphone. Now for the rest of this video, I'm going to be speaking into the SL40X microphone. I have it plugged in through XLR, I have it on my mount obviously, and on the Behringer UM2, I have it at about 60% gain, which is surprising. It did not take a lot of power to drive this microphone. In my opinion, it does sound very much like a podcast style microphone, such as a Beacon mic or the XDM 100. Obviously, tones will be different. You can tell me how it sounds. Does it sound more bassy? Does it sound more crisp? Does it sound distorted or muddy? But in my opinion, it does sound very similar to other podcast style microphones. And so right now I'm going to test how well it is at filtering out background noise such as off axis. It's supposed to be very directional. Everything's supposed to be going to the mic right here. So I'm going to go ahead and swing the mic side to side a little bit. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. Now, it's not benefiting from what the $400 options have, such as high-pass filter, low-pass filter, and other things. Also, I have no filters in OBS, which I'm using to record, such as noise gate, so it's not quite the way I have it set up in my studio. This is just if you only plugged it in, turned it on, gave it some gain. I think you could do a lot with some tuning, such as compression, which could help with, if I'm talking into it and I go really loud and I don't want to overload the microphone. Plosives, that's with could be reasonably handled. It does seem to be a bit on the bassy side, but that is a lot like podcast style microphones. The SM7B is a very bassy microphone. The Rode XDM100 that I was using before is a bit of a bassy mic, and I think that's what most people are going for in a podcast, is a bit more pickup on the low end, which is why a lot of podcasts until more recently were mostly going for condenser microphones. Now I've added some basic filters that pretty much every content creator would add at the very least, such as a noise gate, which is going to mute all of the noise floor for the most part, things like tapping on the keyboard, air conditioner noise, maybe some talking in the background. And then I also added some really easy compression just to help with the plosives a little bit, so that I'm not talking right into the mic and a lot of pressure goes into the diaphragm. It might not overload as much. So I did that because that's what I would do to all my other mics. And so this might be what you would realistically sound like if you were doing a stream. And some things that I might do would be to maybe EQ it to reduce the bass a little bit, but that's just from my preference. All in all, I think this mic would be really good for maybe a podcast where you don't want to put in a whole lot. Some weaknesses of the microphone, I would say, is some people don't know how to use a podcast style microphone. For example, if you are somebody who gets up and walks around, if you get up and walk around, it's going to mute on you. Over here, now I'm back on the microphone, so it's not great at off-access pickup. Also, you have a limited range, so I have to be really close to the microphone. It's meant to be right in your face, really kind of intimate, and maybe even for broadcast. But if I back up a little bit, this far away from the, see, there's a bit, that might be the noise gate going into it. So let me actually take out the noise gate right now. And okay, the noise gate's out now, and I'm going to try this range again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So you can lose a little bit with range. Now, if I go off axis, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Again, you don't have a lot of pickup off axis. It's extremely directional. And this could be good, especially if you have a noisy environment, or if you're in a podcast where you have multiple speakers in the same room, which was the whole purpose of a podcast microphone, was for podcasting. You have 4 or 5 people in the same room. They all have their own mics. You don't need to be hearing the whole conversation in every single microphone. It creates a problem. If you'd like to pick up the SL40X, it's available here on Amazon for $49.99. You can follow the link in description, or you can follow your own. And as far as the interface, we're using the Behringer UM2 Euphoria, and it's priced at right around $50. Check for the latest prices. Now, you will need a boom arm for this kind of mic, and I'm using the Rode PSA 1 Plus, which is a bit on the pricey side for a budget audio solution. So I provided some other solutions, such as the original PSA, which is $99.99 at the time of this recording. But this is still on the premium side, so going a bit more budget friendly while still staying premium, you can go with the Elgato Wave arm here for $79.99 at the time of this recording. But if you really want to go budget, you can get this Quadcast boom arm, which is completely compatible with our mic. And since it's a low weight mic, you can use pretty much any boom you want. What do you think of this audio solution? We have a $50 mic, a $50 USB interface, and you can use a $16 arm if you want. Pretty much the most entry-level audio solution for content creation, podcasting that I can think of. What do you guys think of it? Does it sound good? Does it sound horrible? Tell me about it in the comment section. Congratulations on making it to the end of the video. I hope you liked it. If you like it, please click like and consider subscribing. You can also follow me on Twitter and Instagram, and I will see you next time.